On the 15th of June 2013, me and 4 others attempted to climb the highest mountain in Scotland, England and Wales. That's Ben Nevis, Scafell Pike and Snowdon, all within 24 hours. With over 26 miles to climb and 450 miles to drive, it's not for the faint of heart. It's called the National Three Peaks Challenge, and we did it to raise money for Christians Against Poverty. Here's how we got on. The first mountain of the Three Peaks Challenge, Ben Nevis, is found deep in the Highlands of Scotland, just outside of a place called Fort William. We packed up the car and made the 6-hour journey to the site where we'd be camping for the night, ready to begin the challenge early the next morning.
Okay, so it's day 0 and we have arrived in beautiful Scotland. We're here in Fort William, right at the base of Ben Nevis, where at 5 in the morning tomorrow we will be starting our Three Peaks Challenge. Here's the team, ready and prepared, and we're about to hit the hay so we can get plenty of sleep because we've got to be up really early. See you soon.
Good morning, campers. It is day 1 of the Three Peaks Challenge. We are driving to the start of the walk of Ben Nevis, which is where we will begin at about 6 o'clock this morning. It's about 5:30 now. We've had a good 10 minutes sleep, so we're feeling really refreshed. And we are ready. So we are just travelling now to the Ben Nevis Bridge, which marks the start of our walk. And then we are ready. Let's go climb some mountains.
The first peak, Ben Nevis, is the highest mountain in the British Isles, standing 4,409 feet above sea level. We took the pony path that winds its way from Glen Nevis and starts at practically sea level. The ascent was steep, but we made great time and were treated to spectacular views as we pushed on to the saddle, known as the Halfway Lake, before the 700-metre scramble up into the clouds on the steep west flank of Ben Nevis.
Okay, so we are about halfway up Ben Nevis now. The weather's holding out, but it is closing in a little bit. We're making excellent progress. And no one's died yet. Beautiful views even from here. So we're going up there now, following this path up.
That was not good, but we're walking on up.
Right. So we are at the top of Ben Nevis. This is the trig point. Highest point. British Isles. Three Peaks Challenge. Oh, ahead of schedule. It's freezing, and we're about to head down. Let's have a cheer, guys. Woo! Woo! Right, see you at the bottom.
We made it to the summit of Ben Nevis and back down to the car park in about 4.5 hours, which is excellent time. We broke into a jog about halfway down, past all the walkers that were out for the day. It was about 10:30 in the morning when we got back to the car.
Okay, so we've made it down Ben Nevis, which is the end of the first mountain on the Three Peaks Challenge. We're just packing up the car now, and then we're about to get back in, drive for 6 hours down to the Lake District, where we're going to climb Scafell Pike. It's going to be fun.
The journey to Wasdale Head, the base of Scafell Pike, was a long 6-hour drive across the border into England in the Lake District National Park. Our driver and supporter, Dave, did an amazing job, and we made fantastic time and avoided traffic. We arrived at Wasdale Head at about 4:30 in the afternoon, ready to conquer the second peak.
Okay, so we have arrived in the Lake District at the start of the second of our Three Peaks, Scafell Pike. It's been a very long drive down, 6 hours or so it's taken us, but we're ahead of schedule, we're making good time, and we're just about to head this way to start the walk.
Scarfell Pike stands at 3,209 feet. Despite being the smallest of the mountains on the Three Peaks Challenge, it is arguably the most difficult to climb due to a relentlessly steep ascent. We'd practiced on this mountain some months before in terrible conditions, and yet somehow the weather and visibility were even worse this time. The wind was howling and the rain was torrential, but we pressed on through a formation known as the Hollow Stones, which marked roughly halfway up the mountain.
We're halfway up Scarfell Pike. The weather is atrocious, but we are about halfway. Right, here we are standing on the top of Scarfell Pike in quite possibly the worst weather I've ever experienced. We're about to get blown off. It's wet.
We made it to the summit and back of Scarfell Pike in just over 3 hours, which, especially considering the weather, was an incredible time. Soaking wet, it was about 7:30 in the evening when we jumped back in the car for one last 5-hour drive to Wales and Penny Pass, the base of the final mountain, Snowdon.
Okay, it is 2 in the morning. We have just arrived at the base of Snowdon for the final peak on our Three Peaks Challenge. As you can see, it's pitch black, so we're going to be climbing in the dark. But we should get an amazing sunset from the top, sunrise from the top. And yeah, that should end our challenge. Oh, we're bang on schedule, which is brilliant.
Snowdon stands at an altitude of 3,560 feet above sea level. We decided to take the shorter but more difficult pig track to the summit. The weather was typically awful, with thick fog that combined with the darkness and made it extremely hard to navigate. I didn't bother taking photos because there wasn't anything to see, except the small pool of light around us from our head torches. We lost time straight away by taking the miners track by mistake and added a couple of miles to our route as we had to backtrack. Despite the setback, we made good time along the first section of the pig track, scrambling up the valley to begin the proper ascent of Snowdon. Unfortunately, due to zero visibility, the path was extremely hard to stick to as it disappeared over rocky crags and we lost it several times. Added to this, I had suffered a knee injury that was becoming an agonising barrier with every step. Eventually, it gave out and I wasn't sure if I could continue. The rest of the team were amazing though, and with encouragement we pulled together, determined not to give up. With one last push, we pressed forward, climbing higher and using the cairns to navigate. Eventually we found the ridge that leads to the summit, and the sun rose enough to let us see the trig point through the fog, and we made for it, reaching the summit cairn 23 hours after we started the Three Peaks Challenge. I was too exhausted to even record a video from the top, the exertion of my knees sapping the little energy I had left. We decided that rather than try and scramble down the mountain in the hour that we had left, we'd end our challenge there and make a more leisurely walk down the tourist path to the town of Llanberis. And that marked the end of our adventure. Thank you to everyone that supported us with donations to Christians Against Poverty and for all your encouragement. We really held on to that when situations felt hopeless. It was certainly a challenge, and one that I will remember for a very long time, or at least until I do it again.